Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Kottabos Space Program, where today we are having a look at the Open Cockpit mod, which is being made by forum user Nezd. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a stock-alike Open Cockpit system for the Mark I fuselage. And it's very, very reminiscent in its styling to the old school airplanes of, say, World War I, where it literally was an open cockpit with a little piece of glass in front of the guy while he's flying, and that is pretty freaking awesome. And sadly, I almost missed this as it released while I was out on vacation, and so I never saw this, but thankfully a viewer did send me information about this mod, and I've got to thank them because this thing is pretty cool. So let's jump right into the spaceplane hangar and take a look at the currently 4 parts that make up this mod. Now, I don't know if there's going to be any more parts added in the future or if this 4 is it, but if it is, they are 4 very, very cool parts. Now, you'll find them first here in the command pod section and the remaining 3 parts down here in utility, but if you'd like to see all 4 parts jammed together, you can put in duct tape engineering into the search bar, and that will give you all 4 parts as that is their manufacturer. And let's first take a look at the quote-unquote cockpit here, which is the DTE-OC-1, and there we are. This thing is gorgeous. Oh man, just look at the detailing on this thing. I mean, you got the cool lining around the edge of this, you've got all these gauges in there, even a little container, if I zoom out a little bit better there, a little container for snacks. It just has a huge amount of detail, from the pedals on the floor to what looks to be some sort of a leather seat. All in all, it is a very, very cool cockpit, and I just simply love the look of this thing. It's one of the nicest looking parts I've seen in a very, very long time, so kudos to the mod maker on that. Now, as for the stats on this thing, you'll notice it does hold 200 electric charge as well as 5 monopropellant, which, I don't know, just the number 5 seems odd to me. You'd think it'd hold a little bit more, but oh well, what are you gonna do? Now, you may also notice something in here that it's not saying that it's a command pod, and it's not giving you a number of how many Kerbals it holds, because it's actually technically a command seat. Well, I say technically, that's not technically, it is a command seat. You have to walk a Kerbal to this thing, right-click on it, and have them board, just like you would on the standard command seat that you'd find up here. So that is going to be a little bit of an issue for some people. If you are wanting to take this off from the runway, you are going to have to find a way to get a Kerbal to your plane. For instance, when I was testing this out earlier, I just drove a truck with a Kerbal in it down there, and you know what, it takes a little bit of extra effort, but overall, I'd say it is worth it considering just how beautiful these parts are, and of course the fact, I mean, who doesn't want Jebediah, for instance? I mean, come on, it's gotta be Jebediah, flying around in an open cockpit. Now let's actually put just a random fuel tank on here to show off the other bits and pieces. We'll throw one on the front too, and back to duct tape engineering, where we then have, we'll look at this next, the DTE-OC-1 headrest, which is just an aesthetic part to go behind the cockpit, just to give it a little bit more of an enclosed feel, and it'd look a lot better if it was actually centered. Beautiful, there we go. And yeah, it just gives it a nice look, and once you have one of the 2 different windshields you have available set up in the front, it gives it that very nice old school plane look, where you've got the windshield here, the headrest here, sort of completing the whole image. And again, the part itself, very nicely made, very nicely detailed, and of course, stock-alike, which you guys know me, I always enjoy, and I think this needs to be up a little bit more. There we go, excellent. Is that centered? Yeah, close enough. And then, of course, finally, we have the 2 different windshields. The first being the OC-1 small windshield, which, as you can see, is a very, very small little windshield. But you know what? Still has a good look. You look at it from the side, you get that nice sort of swept back look from the windshield that sort of flows into the back headrest here, and you'd have the Kerbal with their giant helmet in the center. Very nice indeed. And then, of course, the larger and my preferable windshield for this, the OTC-1 big windshield, which is, well, much bigger. Let's pop this thing up front here. Beautiful detailing on it. I love all the riveting and metal, etc., and just the more angled look to it rather than the curving look of the small windshield. This one much more, I'd say, probably military-ish or utilitarian. It's very, very straight to the point, just angles. Beautiful, beautiful windshield. By far my favorite of the two. But hey, if you like the smaller one and that fits your aesthetic, have at it, my friends. And yeah, that is the 4 parts for the stockalike Mark 1 Open Cockpit mod. And of course, as I said, it does fit the stock 1 fuselage system. So with that, you can build, frankly, any plane you desire, and it should look pretty sweet. Now let's actually leave here where I already have a plane set up on the runway to show this thing off. As I said, I did drive a truck out there earlier, and we have our open airplane who's currently being crewed by Jebediah. Now, unfortunately, I had to park a truck with him over here, then pop this thing on the runway and have him run to it before it rolled backwards, because since there's no command at all, I can't even put on the brakes without a Kerbal in there. But brakes are on now, so let's pop him out of this real quick. Leave seat. There we are. Ooh, boy, he's in kind of an awkward position there. Jump. Excellent. So there we are. We have a lovely little plane with our open cockpit, and yes, once you have it ready to fly, you just do need to get your Kerbal here by whatever means necessary. And, well, you know, right-click and board. Perfect. And that's how it works. I mean, that's the entire reason why I popped him out of there, but, you know, it works. Now, sadly, that means if you do like flying from the internal view of a cockpit, you won't have that with this because you can't fly from first person from a command seat. Well, without certain other mods, which we've looked at in the past. And, yeah, so you will have to fly third person, but overall, that's not too bad. You still got the cool aesthetic of Jebediah sitting in this very awesome open cockpit here. Though I have to say, I think his giant helmet sort of ruins the aerodynamics. The point of the windshield is to make the wind go up and over the head, and then sort of come back down that back headrest, but with his giant helmet, that kind of ruins the whole thing. Oh well. I believe if we did have probably Kerbal inventory system installed, we could probably turn off his helmet, but sadly we have to live with it in vanilla otherwise. And yeah, it of course works just like any command seat, so if we throttle up, we can actually take this thing off and fly. Though I actually haven't flown this thing yet. I built it like 10 minutes ago and hadn't tried it yet, and it looks like it's a little bit wobbly on the runway. Oh, lovely. That's always wonderful when I build planes that do that. Oh, it wobbled too much. We're going off the side. Hey, we're good. Yeah, see, this is what happens when I don't test my planes before starting the video. I really, really should, but didn't have the time for it today. But there we go. We have a Kerbal in an open cockpit, and that is just awesome. I mean, who doesn't love that look? It's just pretty cool. And, I mean, technically, you could still put one of these things on an actual space plane and fly your Kerbal into space with an open cockpit. I mean, it seems like a crazy idea to me, but if that's what you want, you could indeed do that. But me, I think for the open cockpit, I'll keep it atmospheric, frankly, because I'm already a bad enough pilot. I don't need any other bad things happening to me with a space plane, because that is one thing I should point out. These do add a little bit more drag if you are wanting to do a space plane, especially the large windshield and headrest. I believe the large windshield has a larger collider than it should have, I believe is what I read in the forum post. So it does add a little bit more drag than it should. So if you are wanting to make a space plane with this, you'll have to probably add on an additional engine or two there, just to be on the safe side of things. But overall, it should make for a fun flight and a very cool plane for you to experience And of course, look at Jebediah. He's all happy and smiling in there. But yeah, that is the Open Cockpit mod. If you would like to check it out for yourself, you can take a look at the link in the description as always. And yeah, I definitely say to go and check it out, especially if you are a fan of older planes. You could, you know, if you had the patience, build yourself a lovely little biplane in here with the Open Cockpit, and it would look lovely. But yes, that is going to be it for this video today, folks. I hope you all have enjoyed, and of course that you do come back for the next episode. But until that time, thank you for watching, my friends, and as always, have a good one.